open shelters. Disasters and emergencies that destroy homes or force people out of them. Typical examples are apartment fires, storm damages, hurricanes and wildfire evacuations and damage, tornadoes, floods, earthquakes, chemical attacks, and volcanic activity, just to name a few. When you arrive, these are crucially important. Um, on a small chapter, regional shelters, you may go to straight to the shelter, and there probably won't be a physical headquarters. Sheltering will arrange your transportation once you've been assigned to a work location. Housing assignments may not happen until later in the day. They can't assign housing until they know where you are going to be assigned. So when you arrive, you're going to be checking in with staffing, check with the mass care, sheltering people. Be patient. That's really crucial. Sometimes if we do like a pre-landfall to a like a hurricane, we pre-stage. A lot of times we pre-stage, and so you may get there and they don't put you right to work because we're just kind of waiting for the storm to move in, and so we're just kind of in a hold mode. Assignments may not be ready upon your arrival, or you could be asked to go to an assignment right away. Long wait times may occur. Used to use that time to review your initial initial accident pl- initial action plan to get to know the other volunteers. That's one of the IAP is one of the crucial documents. It gives you a lot of information every day. Most of the time, they're on larger DRs. They are updated every day. Be flexible. You may be deployed in sheltering, and they may say, "How can you help in feeding?" Right now, we have a big need in feeding, so be flexible. Now, another very important, a DRO orientation may be required to attend. I highly recommend that because it'll give you a much better idea of the situation. What to expect as a shelter worker? Well, you're going to probably have to work 12-hour shifts, and then you're also going to probably have travel time depending on where you're housing. Some tasks are physically demanding. You may be on your feet for long hours. Maybe you're asked to work the night shifts. Maybe put on standby team to be able to open new shelters as needed. May be asked to do housekeeping activities. In my past, uh, I've really got a lot of the top clients really like to help with some of the housekeeping activities, keeping the shelter cleaned up, and so yeah, it's not only us staff and volunteers, but many times the client are just looking for something to do. Okay, types of shelters you could be assigned to. Like pre-evacuation, you could be in a local evacuation center. You could be in a respite center. You could be in a hurricane or wildfire evacuation center. You could be assigned to a family assistance center. Uh, if it gets out of an evacuation center, then we most of the time we focus or transition into a congregate shelter. You could be in a mega shelter, or you could be assigned to a staff shelter. Um, Now, don't say, hey, I was deployed and sheltering. Why are you making me go somewhere else? Well, we probably have the staff that can handle that for right now. Vacuum centers, you probably won't leave until after an event happens. Evacuation centers may have a minimum supplies. If assigned, you may need to bring your own food, beddings, etc. Those evacuation centers are just safe locations for the clients. And, we have snacks and basic, but we don't have bedding and all that. So they'd be bringing their bedding if they needed it. When you arrive at your shelter, get a job induction and assignment. During the job induction, you can expect to learn about the sheltering site. Very important. Discuss your skills and strengths. Many times, they don't know your skills and strengths and things that you like to do. There may be things you really don't like to do. And so let them know that. The worst thing possible is to put somebody in a position that they don't like. Because we want to make it a deployment a very enjoyable time. Have expectations set. Be assigned a supervisor and know how to contact your supervisor. Receive and review your work assignment. Exchange contact information. Establish a work schedule. Now remember, when you get there, if you don't get a job induction, please request one. Now, our main thing is client first sheltering. Sheltering is not about facilities, processes, and rules, but about supporting the people who need our help. We show compassion and make each person feel that they are very important. We work to understand and meet individual needs, not just the group needs, but individual needs. Our aim is to help each person move towards a more sustainable location for their recovery. Everyone is welcome. Very, very important. All those affected by the disaster are welcome in our shelters. We assist everyone, regardless of race, color, national origin, religion, gender identity, age, disability, sexual orientation, citizenship, veteran status, or pre-disaster housing situation. We accept everyone. We accommodate individuals with access and functional needs, visual or hearing impairments, and service animals. We try to have pets at the same location because they are as different as clients. If we can't accommodate a client, we don't turn them away. We work with the supervisor or manager for a solution. A shelter workers are organized in work groups under supervisors. The top level is your shelter manager or your site supervisor. He's pretty much reporting to the upper echelon of the DR. You have shift supervisors, usually have a day shift supervisor and a night shift, and it may be several of them depending on the size of the shelter and how many clients. Then you also have functional supervisors. Those are like reception, registration, dormitory, feeding services, etc. Then we have the shelter service workers.
It's not muting down.
Am I muted again?
No, you're not muted, but everybody else, please mute.
Okay. Yeah, I can't really watch the chat, but okay. Well, I am going to turn it over at this point. I guess if there's any quick questions, we will have time for questions at the end, but if you have a quick question right now, we're glad to take a minute or two to answer your quick questions. Just come off mute or raise your hand or whatever. Seeing nothing, I will turn it over to Carol. Thank you.
Right. So when you arrive, there's different stages of a DR. And so what stage are you arriving at? At the beginning or pre-landfall, the initiating phase, expect things to be more hectic and less organized. Shelters will meet.
We lost
Can
the
you all hear
slides
me?
here. Yeah, we
Yeah,
can
I
hear
lost
you.
the
I just
slides.
lost the slides for some reason.
Can you bring them back up? I'll go on while they're doing that, while you're bringing it up. Shelters will need to be set up and opened. Clients won't know what to expect. They're showing up, they've just gone through a disaster and they're going to be really stressed out. It's probably the worst time in their life. Clients, children, and pets are going through a really high stress period. So that's the initiating phase. Can you get the slides back, Scott?
I'm working on it.
So the next one is the stabilizing phase. Is everybody okay with me just talking right now?
Yes.
The stabilizing phase is the hurricane's gone through, things are gone out, but it's still pretty hectic. But during the stabilizing, headquarters will have a better idea of the scope of the disaster because like pre-hurricane fire, they don't know how many people are going to be affected. So have a little better understanding of what's going on. As I said, things are still going to be hectic. Evacuation centers where people just came to evacuate, those who homes weren't affected will return home and they will either change those locations to a regular non-congregate shelter, or they may close them and they'll be opening new congregate shelters throughout the area depending on where they're needed. We try to get the congregate shelters in as close to people's homes as possible so they can go on, but if it depends on the disaster. If you don't do good with hectic, I don't recommend coming out at the beginning of a DR. Wait to further out when things are running more smoothly. So opening phase or the setup can happen in the initiating or stabilizing stage. You might be opening a shelter. Every disaster and shelter will be different. The disaster is different. The setup of the shelter is different. The staff is different. The clients are different. No two disasters. I've been doing this for 20 years and no two shelters have ever been the same, even when they've been at the same location. The supervisor will determine where to locate the different activities in the shelter. Typically, where's the registration going to be? We use one entrance and one exit. So where's that going to be? Where's the dormitory? Where's the best place to set up feeding? Do we need a private room for health services? Or is there going to be a lot of kids? Do we need a kids area? So your shelter site manager is going to look at what they have and they're going to decide how to set up that shelter. Task will be assigned for setting up the thing. You're going to be doing a lot of unloading. They'll either bring things in a truck, an herb, or look, a lot of stuff will just come in a shelter trailer, which they'll park in the parking lot so that you can just get your supplies out as needed. So someone's gonna have to carry all that supplies in, and logistics, some of the logistic people will help you unload. Some of the logistic people will drop it up, will just say, we're just delivering and you need to do your sheltering, you need to do all the unloading yourselves. Work with them, you don't know their story, and we may have 5 other locations to go to, so we work with them. You're gonna set up tables and desks and chairs, you're gonna set up all the different areas, you're gonna assemble cots. If it's not sure you're gonna get a lot of clients, don't set up a whole lot of cots. Every cot that you set up, you have to clean. But usually you kind of have an idea, and if you're expecting a lot of clients, you better get those cots set up ahead of time, because it takes a little bit of time to set up those cots. You're going to post the signage for the clients with rules, schedules, directions, locations, and things like that. The functional areas in a shelter, this just shows you, we kind of went, you have the lobby registration area. They could be one or they could be separate. In the lobby, you could have a separate area that's a reception area. That's usually only seen in larger shelters. In the majority, matter of fact, unless it's a mega shelter, all the shelters I've ever worked, we haven't had a separate reception and registration area. You're going to have information for people walking in set up in that area. The dormitory area is restricted to clients that are sleeping and registered into the dormitory only. The dining area, you're going to set up, know that clients can come in to eat who are not staying in the shelter. The recreation area, a lot of times that recreation area is not going to be set up immediately. And it depends on the shelter. Some shelters, like when I was in St. Louis, I wanted to get a TV, but we were in one giant room. It was one gym. There was no way to set up an entertainment area that wouldn't disturb the clients that were sleeping. But a lot of shelters, you'll have a separate area you can set up for those who can't sleep. So they have an area where they're not disturbing the people that are sleeping, and they can watch TV or just get up and get out of the dormitory area. Again, it depends on your situation. What other services do you need to set up areas for? Both government. Do you have an area to store supplies? And the toilets and showers. Are you going to need additional more than what they have in the building? Next slide. So substantial, if you're not a good person that deals well with a lot of hectic, I would recommend coming in the second wave and not the first wave. No, it is still a disaster, and it's a disaster. So things still aren't going to run as smoothly as your job at home and your normal life, because you're working in a disaster zone. But things are more set up and going in the substantial stage. So the shelter workers, by this time, the initial shelter workers have gotten to know their clients. The clients know what to expect of them. As remember, when they first came in, they don't know what to expect when they show up at a shelter, unless they're in Louisiana, Texas, or Florida, and they evacuate all the time. Most clients don't know what's expected of them when they show up at a shelter. The clients and the staff have made routines. They got routines down. SRT, or shelter resident transition workers, will be helping the clients find out why they need to be in the shelter, and work with them for exiting plans start working with the clients. The clients may be still stressed because they don't know their future. They don't know if they're going to be able to fix their home, if they're renters, if their homes, if they can never go back, where am I going to live? and stuff. So I expect clients still to be stressed because not knowing it. A lot of shelters initially won't have showers or laundry facilities for the first few days. But when you get to Substanson, if the shelter's going to be staying open for a while, they're good. If they can't, if there's no showers or laundry facilities on the premises, they'll sometimes bring in laundry trailers, shower trailers, or they may, depending like in our local apartment fire shelters, a lot of times we will make arrangements with a local gym for our clients to use the showers or a laundromat for the clients to go and do their laundry. But in the substantial space, showers and laundry services should be available for the clients if the shelter is going to stay open. So daily tasks in the shelter. So there's always something to do. You may be assigned to primary carry out a single task such as registration. You may be assigned to be a floater and carry out different tasks at different times of the day. When you're not busy, unless you're at the registration desk where we always have to have somebody up there, you may help other people with their task if you're not actually doing something at the time. And the biggest thing is interface with the clients. That is our biggest thing anyway, is we're there for the clients, get to know them. So tasks in the reception area and the dormitory registration area. So the reception area is where the clients first come in. It's their first impression of the shelter. So we want the people in the reception area. We want all workers to be friendly and welcoming to our clients, but especially when they walk in the door. The space should be arranged to set up a funnel of traffic. We want to, as I said, we make one entrance and one exit. And so we want to set that up. If it's a separate area, you may have somebody up there out in the reception area who is just greeting clients as they walk in the door, offering them a cup of coffee, a bottle of water, snacks if there's going to be a long wait for registration. They're also going to be greeting other people who might be coming to the shelter. Biggest thing in functions in the reception area is nobody is allowed out of that area who are not clients or guests of Red Cross. Like we don't allow media to just walk into our shelters. We stop them. One of the big things is, number one, if you don't know how to handle something, just ask them to wait patiently, go get your supervisor. We don't expect you to know how to deal with press or police or anything. Just ask them politely to wait while you get somebody who can handle the situation for you. But the idea at the reception is to protect our clients so no one goes past that area. Now, we may have clients coming in to eat who aren't staying in the dormitory. They're welcome, but the dormitory area, unless it's the same area, is closed to everybody but those sleeping there because it's like their home. You're going to be having people come in and asking questions. Clients coming in asking about when they can get money, what other services. They may come in for a health service need. They may be staying at their home, but they need to have a health service need. They may be staying at their home, but they need food. They may have other questions. We'd sign in visitors and staff and media at the reception area. We do no longer sign in clients. We do not write client's name anywhere on paper anymore. So tasks in the reception and dormitory area continue. As I said, it could be combined when it's separate. We want to make sure that the clients that are waiting are comfortable, have chairs set up for them to sit in while they're waiting. And as I said before, offer them snacks and things. Signage should be posted. One of the big signs is I like to put up the rules right there so they can read them while they're waiting. The shelter rules, and stuff in it. So if it's separate or if it's combined, the dormitory registration area is where you sign in the clients that are going to be signing into the shelter to sleep. Want to make sure we find out their immediate needs. If they have a medical need that can't wait, then we want to get health service right away. If they have any other needs that can't wait. So this is where we're going to sign them into Skya. We're going to also check their pets into Skya. And one of the things I make sure that I ask clients when they are coming and going is to please let us know if they won't be returning. Because a lot of times they'll just disappear on you and then their cot's empty for 3 days and we don't know if they're coming back or not. So try to get them to let you know when they're not coming back, or even if they're going to be gone for a few days. We'll make referrals for the clients. They have a health service need that in Skya. So they'll make referrals for health service or mental health or SRT. Those referrals are made in Skya. If they have an immediate need, I would also let the supervisor know, because we want to make sure that it doesn't sit in a computer program and nobody picks it up at headquarters. So if they have an immediate need, please let somebody know so that they can pass that word on. If there's a lot of clients at the beginning, all we do is the basic registration. And then we have to come back and do the demographics. And we should get the demographics done within the first day. But maybe not. If you have everybody show up at the same time and you have a long waiting, we'll go back and do the demographics. Can somebody, everyone make sure that you're muted, please? We may be asking, we usually SRT, shelter resident transitioning, they have a triage in Skya. And if we, as shelter workers, can get that done, then when they come in, they don't have to spend their time doing the triage. It's already done. So they know ahead of time what the client's major needs are. And so they can already start working on plans before they even meet them. So a lot of times now they will ask us to do the triage. CMIS is their health questionnaire. And it used to, if health services is available, they usually will do the CMIS. But what we're finding is that more and more of the clients do not, more and more of the shelters, we do not have enough health service people to have somebody in the shelters and doing the CMIS. It's just the way with licensing and people coming into other states, it's harder to get health services all the time. So a lot of times now we will be asked as shelter workers to also do the CMIS. When the clients first come in, you want to give them the welcome information, give them the welcome handout. You can go over rules with them. They're stressed. How much when people tell you things, you're going to forget 90% of the things I tell you right now. Think about being stressed and going through a hard time. You might be told things, you're not going to remember them. The handout is nice when they're laying on their cot and they don't have anything to do. They can pull it out and read it and reinforce it for them. So who comes to the registration area? Clients who need shelters, clients who just want information on services that Red Cross are doing. We'll have a lot of Red Cross staff show up during the day. You'll have public affairs. You'll have a spiritual care might show up. Mental health may show up. We'll have partners and our partners are really important to us that are going to help with the clients show up. You'll have people volunteering to help. You'll have people making donations. That's a biggie. Donations, we don't take cash donations. We refer them to the redcross.org to make it online. But we do get tons and tons of stuff, clothes, blankets, all this. We do accept those. The shelter will sit and headquarters will figure out what to do with all those donations. I saw Julia on the call. She knows how to handle those donations that we get by the pile full. What we do not accept though is food, that unless it was cooked in a professional kitchen. So if a restaurant comes in, and I've had them show up and just with the meal, which kind of messes up our meal schedule, but they'll show up and say, hey, we brought you some food. We can accept that food. But if somebody just says, I baked some cookies or I made a casserole, you just politely tell them, because of health code, we cannot accept the food. And then send them somewhere else with the food. You can send them to fire department, police stations. They can accept that food. So be generous because they went out of their way to make something because they wanted to help. Unfortunately, we can't accept home cooked meals. And those you usually, if you don't know how to handle, get your supervisor, but usually those ones you can handle. On the ones in red, those ones you want to always get the site manager or your supervisor. If government agent officials, public officials show up, law enforcement show up, media shows up. People that are looking for clients, we will help them. I'm a big person in reunification. If you don't have a reunification person at your shelter, we can send them how to get on the site and register that they're looking for someone. So those you're going to want to get somebody to help them with. Unaccompanied minors, there's rules on how we handle unaccompanied minors. When they show up, we put 2 staff on them right away, and we put them in a private area away from the general public clients. With the unaccompanied minors, if the parent shows up, we are not allowed to release them. They have to be released through law enforcement. So anything to do with unaccompanied minors, do not just get your supervisor. They know how to handle it. So, as I said before, we don't write any clients' names anymore on paper. That is for them. If we're going to identify them on paper, it's by COT number. So we keep a log on the what's happening in the shelter. You may need to write information about something that happened between 2 clients that got in a disagreement, or a staff had problems with a client. In the log, identify the client by their COT number. There's forms to complete besides the log. On the shelter log, I always say overwrite rather than underwrite. I'd rather have more things information. The shelter log's really good because when you do this handoff from one shift to another, you're going to forget things. The next shift can read the log and find out what happened during the shift that they're relieving from. They also could be a legal document if needed for a problem that happens. The only thing that we do not overwrite in shelter logs is medical information, because of HIPAA. If we called an ambulance or something, I just put in the general shelter log, not the manager log, but the general shelter log, that 911 was called for a client and they took them to the hospital. Don't name the client, don't name their medical condition. That's none of our business. It's just there's a record that 911 was called. You could put in the log that the Mexican restaurant down the street came in with 50 lunches, donated 50 lunches. Write that down on the log. There's anything that happened. As I said, I, as a manager, prefer overlogging than underlogging, except for medical information. There is a shelter shift inspection form that's supposed to be done on every shift. So you need to fill that, have someone, usually a dormitory person will do that for you, but we need to make sure that that gets done. And all these information helps us provide the best care we can for the clients. So I'm going to turn it back over to, is this where I'm turning it back over to you, Scott, with the shelter supplies? I can't remember.
You still have it. I take over at
Okay.
feeding.
Oh, okay, I couldn't remember. Sorry. Okay, so
That's okay.
task with shelter supplies. So we said you may be unloading and store and help storing and unpacking supplies. Moving them around to the shelter, because when they first come, you may just put them all in the entryway. So move them to a better location. The biggest thing with supplies is keep an inventory of the supplies. We want to make sure that we don't run out of things. When we first start open, we're going to take inventory on things the facility has, because we may be using them and we want to replace them. We're also going to take inventory of what the Red Cross has. And that is to make sure that we don't run out of things. You don't wait until we're out to order it. Logistics, usually sometimes they'll take a couple of days. If it's a level 4 above with procurement, usually they'll come around and be able to get you the supplies the next day. But you don't want to run out of supplies. You don't want to give out your last cot, and in the middle of the night, you have 3 new clients show up and you don't have any cots, or there's no toilet paper in the bathroom. You want to make sure that it's done ahead of time. So keeping track of inventory is really important. Next slide. So tasks in running the dormitory. So number one, we're to protect the client's confidentiality. Remember, the dormitory is their temporary home. We don't want you wouldn't want somebody just walking into your house uninvited. And so even if the clients may have friends that are coming to visit, they visit outside the dormitory because they may be their friends, but they may not be somebody else in the dormitory's friends, and they may not want them in their house. We want to make sure that it's a private place that they can feel comfortable and safe in. Again, that we make sure that emergency exits are not blocked in the dormitory, but we post signs on them, do not use, and except for an emergency. One of the things a lot of clients will do is they'll open the back door for air, and then people will sneak friends in and out. They'll go in and out. For cigarettes, a lot of times it's easier to just go out that back door. We can't control what's happening in the dormitory if people are going in and out all different doors. And that's the reason for the one door. It's to protect the clients and to be able to control who is in our shelter and who is not in our shelter. You're going to be enforcing the rules. One of the big things is not eating at a cot. We don't mind if they take their water bottles. If it's a facility, they can have water bottles. Sometimes gyms, they can't because of a water bottle spills that ruins the gym floor. But usually water bottles are okay at their cots. You can imagine that if they're eating at their cot, crumbs are going to fall. And when we clean the dormitory, it's impossible to get everything that goes underneath the cots. You have blankets hanging over and things, so no eating at their cots. And then the biggest thing is make sure you keep it clean. Clean the bathrooms, clean the dormitory, and take out the trash. Make sure it's cleansing. Now, as Scott had mentioned, a lot of the clients will do some of the chores. If they don't, we have to do them. it's healthy for the clients to do the chores. It's really healthy for them because it is something that is normal, something that they would have done, that they do at home. They take out the trash. And a lot of times they will volunteer to, they'll just come up to you and volunteer to do it. I walked into a bathroom at a shelter once, and I had a client cleaning the sinks, and no one had asked her. She just started cleaning the sinks in the bathroom. It's a healthy thing. It helps them. It's something normal that they would do in their normal lives. And one of the things when we have client meetings, we can ask them, let them know there's some chores if they would like to help, that to let us know. We do not force them to do chores. We do not tell them they have to do chores. Okay, but we offer chores for them. If a client, we clean cots if they're not used. If we notice that a client, a cot's been empty for a couple of days, no one's seen the client, then what I recommend doing is putting a note on the cot saying, we haven't seen you. If you're still using the space, please let us know. They may be night workers, and so the night shift never seen them because they're at work at night. So they may be there. It's just the night shift never seen them sleeping there because they sleep during the daytime. So we don't want to take up their cot if they're still using it. But if they don't respond, there's a good chance they're not coming back. If you're cleaning up a cot area, tell your a cot that hasn't been used and no one's responded, let your supervisor know. The way that we usually do it, if they left any belongings, a lot of times they take all their stuff and just leave the Red Cross blankets. If they've left any personal stuff behind, it's really important to keep that, take care of their belongings. So what I usually have is 2 shelter workers together wearing gloves, because you don't know what's in their belongings. Put them like in all their belongings in a garbage bag, tape them shut, initial it, date it, and then they'll put them in a storage room in case the client comes back for their belongings. And that way we've done everything to protect their belongings. Notice that we are not responsible for their belongings when the people, for any client's belongings. We let them know that they're responsible for their own belongings. So the important thing to do is interact with the clients. Learn about and understand their needs. That's really important. Is as shelter workers, we can give a lot of information to SRT. We can find out, somebody may tell you something when you're talking to them that they have a need. We want to remember, sheltering first, we want to get to yes. If it's something we can get to yes to. I mean, if they want a steak dinner, we're not going to get them a steak dinner. If they just don't like the food we're serving, sorry. But they may have a dietary need. They may have, some of the needs I've seen is you may have somebody who doesn't do good in a congregate shelter. We can get them a blue room. We can find out different ways to help the client. It may be that they are disabled and they left some of their medical equipment at home that they need to function on their own. Then we can get disability integration to help them get what they need so that they keep their independence. So unless we're talking and listening to the clients, because when they first come in the door, they may not tell you anything. You get to know what they are. That's a good time to encourage them and raise their morale. Get them thinking about their next steps, about what are they going to do when they leave the shelter. And again, learn what we can do to make their stay better. Sleeping on a cot in a congregate shelter is no fun. And the most important task, the next slide, the most important task that of anything is just being with the clients. Ask how they're doing, if they need anything, offer assistance. Pay attention for clients that aren't eating, that maybe seem distressed, ill, or in need of other care. I find out that it's more than what me as a shelter worker can deal with. So I'll do a referral to mental health or spiritual care. I'll talk to the client and see if they need to talk to somebody. Answer questions. Just hang out with the client. One of the things, like if you don't have work that you have to do, ask them to go play a game, work on a jigsaw puzzle, or just sit down and have a conversation with them. It's been proven that when they've gone through a disaster or anybody's gone through stress in their life, if they hold it in, they're more likely to get post-traumatic stress. The more people they share their story with, the less chance of them getting post-traumatic stress from the situation. So just listen to them tell their story. A lot of them want to share their stories on what happened to them. That is healthy for them. So just listen there, just be there. One of my favorite things to do is sheltering. And it's because I'm at headquarters most of the time now. I much prefer to be in a shelter because it's the one thing where you get to really know the clients. You're with them for 12 hours a day. You get to know them, get to know their personalities. It's actually hard when when your 2 weeks is up and they're still there and you have to say goodbye. Get to know them. Okay, now it is Scott's turn. And I do see the note, Scott, at the bottom.
Okay, welcome back. Thank you, Carol. So much experience, so much knowledge, as many of you know. Yeah, clients first, and you will build relationships that will last your whole life. Okay, 3 feeding areas in each shelter. There's the snack and beverage table.
By the way, we kind of went long, so we want to go fast.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it took too long.
That's okay. Snack and beverage table. The new rules pretty much say we serve the snacks and beverage. Unfortunately, that might be a little carryover from COVID. And the same thing with the serving area. We serve the clients and then they sit in a dining area. It's kind of separated. Okay, tasks in feeding. Clean and sanitize feeding and dining surfaces before and after meals. Wash and disinfect your hands and wear gloves and a hat or a hairnet. Replenish snacks and drinks. Serve snacks, serve meals. If someone has a specific dietary need, it should be in SCIA if we've gotten that far. But like Carol said, the first thing we want to do is get them into the shelter, into a safe place. But also, you might put those in the notes and let the supervisor know immediately if there's a specific dietary need. Another one of our responsibilities as a SA is to count meals and snacks served and feeding supplies used. There may be a feeding lead on the DR, and they will need those numbers and they will help you with that. But assist everybody, all the Red Cross and other volunteers with their projects. Provide information and assistance. Answer questions. Find answers you don't know. What about locations of services offered in the shelter? Many times we have a separate office or room for the IDC, the mental health, the disaster health services, the spiritual care, the disability. We want to kind of provide that, in a very good location. So it's not with the rest, maybe not. It needs to be a little bit segregated. List of available community resources and services. I refer a lot of people just in the basic intakes on smaller incidents to the resale stores. Most of the time they can give you or other services that are involved in the area. As Carol mentioned, reunification services. We do have a good reunification service, and they can sign up for that. Where to go with problems and complaints? Let them know. You know, we want to know because we want to solve any problem they have or complaints as quickly as possible. Oversee communications devices and provide for clients, including telephones and computers. Pets in shelters. Okay, service animals are not pets and are allowed where clients are allowed in shelter. Understand your shelter pet plan. There may be a pet advocate with the Red Cross at the shelter. Pets must be crated or caged at all times in shelter, and dogs must be leashed when walking. Pets are only allowed in pets approved area of shelters. Some of our shelters do not allow pets, so they've got to be housed outside. And so we work with that, but we try to accommodate all the owners. The owners are responsible for taking care of their pets. We are responsible for providing what pets need. Pets are included in the nightly count, and staff and volunteers should never handle pets. Unless the client says, but still, it's try not to, intermingle with the pets. Let the client do that. Protecting client privacy and confidentiality. Create privacy when discussing personal information with clients. Do it away from other clients if possible. Do not speak too loudly. Watch for others listening. Protect information and records. Do not allow unauthorized people to view any records. Do not reveal whether a specific client are present if asked. Get a supervisor. When in doubt about anything, ask your supervisor. You aren't expected to know everything. Matter of fact, many of the supervisors don't know everything, and so network among your supervisors. It's better to ask than to do it wrong. Difficult issues and decisions should be immediately referred to your supervisor. Specialized workers in shelters. I'll make this very quick.
Yep. Skip any slide that's not important. We have 5 minutes left.
Right. Okay. Daily actions in shelters. That's pretty much what we talked about. Demobilization. As it goes down, clients should be informed at client's meeting of closing unless all clients are checked out. The clients must be given 24-hour notice ahead of closing. We leave the shelter in better shape and cleaner than when we arrived. When a shelter is closed, you may be reassigned to another shelter. Who are our clients? They're going through the worst time of their life, maybe shell-shocked, large population is low income with no other place to go, or the homeless. Homeless are affected by disaster, and if it affects our welcoming in our community, and if affected, our welcome in our shelters. Rumors, please stop all rumors if all possible. Rumors get started and spread like clients. I've been met numerous shelters where someone came in and said, well, it was a wildfire and the whole town burned down. And I had about 100 clients from that area in the shelter. It took me a good 4 or 5 hours to get these people calmed down again. Share only facts you know with clients. Make sure you're talking to other staff about things, especially that may be happening that you are in an area clients can't overhear. Gosh. For a rewarding experience, understand expectations for your assignment, manage your expectations. Make friends. Please, you will make friends. Believe me, as you interact with the clients, you will make friends, and most of them are long-lasting. A good SA performs and reports accurate counts, takes good notes, asks questions, sees an issue or a job that needs to be done and handles it or asks how to handle. Sees client in need, spends time with them and how to get to yes. See a stress out mom who's trying to entertain, ask them to offer to entertain their children. Shadow and experience SA or SV. Do the best at all times. Treat everyone as you would want your family treated. When your deployment is over, leave it there. That's a tough part. Our commitment as shelter workers is to take care of the sheltering needs of people affected by disasters. We are committed to providing shelter on an interim basis while our clients arrange for their recovery or until they are able to return home. We demonstrate this commitment in our sheltering program